Do it.
Hey! Oh my god.
Holy crap. Hello and welcome to the 1000 subscriber celebration video. First thing I want to do is say thank you very much for everyone for subscribing. It's just really awesome to know that I'm putting stuff out and people are enjoying it and showing the love, so thank you very much. So I thought I would celebrate the 1000 subscriber mark with a Q&A session. So yeah, a whole bunch of you have asked loads of questions on comments on videos, and people have been private messaging me and stuff, so thank you so much for that. That's really great. And yeah, let's crack on with it. The first question, I'm curious as to what plugins and amp sims or real guitar you use to get these tones. Yeah, okay, so what I use for guitar is Positive Grid's Bias Amp. So it's a plugin, it runs in my audio workstation, and it's cost about, I can't even remember, less than 100 quid, maybe thereonabouts for the kind of basic version. But it just sounds so good for an amp simulator, for a plugin, and not using onboard equipment. It just sounds so great. So I used to use Line 6 quite a lot, and yeah, you know, say what you will about Line 6, they're great for sort of cheap bits of whatever years and years ago, but I think I pushed it as far as I could take it with that. So I upgraded a while back, about a year and a half ago, and yeah, it sounds great. For bass, I use a Waves plugin, which is Chris Lord Alge bass. Again, I think I picked it up for about 30 quid, so really cheap for what it does. And that's great because you can just load it up and just crank everything up and it just sounds awesome. Drums, I program all my drums. One of the questions I got was, it sounds great and everything, but I hear drums but I don't see a drummer. That is because I program all my drums. I play them in on a keyboard, and yeah, I sort of get an idea, I play on the keyboard, and then I go through what I've recorded and I fix it and make it sound not ridiculously sloppy, which is what it usually is when I first start recording drums on a keyboard. And then the rest of it is just kind of like audio production plugins, and I think pretty much all of them are Waves. I bought a Waves bundle a while ago, and it's the odd compressor here and a bit of delay and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. The next question, how do you get such a clean mix? Is it your EQing or what? Compared to other YouTubers, you have some of the cleanest stuff I've heard. Thank you very much. And I don't know, I basically I picked up a lot from a couple of mates who I used to record and write a lot of music with years and years ago, and they really knew their stuff. And it was just a lot of watching them work and learning from them and picking up loads of little tips. And it's kind of difficult to describe, I guess, but I think the main thing I would say, and the main tip, is turn everything down. If you want a big, fat, massive, great big mix, the trick isn't just to whack up all the faders as far as you can push them, or even further, and have things clipping all over the place. Turn everything down and get the mix sounding like you want it to sound, not sounding as loud as you want it to sound. Once you're happy with how the mix sounds, then use things like compression and stuff to then add more volume and more of a dynamic range. That might not be the 100%. I'm sure there'll be a whole bunch of like music tech aces looking at that going like, what's he talking about? What an idiot. But you know, it works for me, it's what I do, and it's one of the things I've kept in mind while I've been recording and mixing. So yeah, don't go crazy, don't turn everything up. Turn things down, get it nice and clean, and then bring it up. Yeah, there is some EQ. It's little things like rhythm guitars. You want to chop off like the very low end, 100 hertz and lower. You want to high pass that on an EQ. Bass, I use a lot of compression. Drums, I use things like parallel compression, where I have the whole mix of the drums running through a separate channel with loads of compression on it, and then you blend that with the original mix. So it's just lots and lots of little tips. But yeah, I have a couple of friends who I used to record with, and I attribute a lot of what I know now to what they used to kind of teach me. So hope that kind of answers your question. Next question, let us know when Nintendo copyright strikes you. Yeah, that hopefully that won't happen. I mean, I do like covers and I do interpretations and that sort of thing, and I'm not earning money off of it. Even if I had ad revenue turned on, I'd be earning pennies, and even if I did, Nintendo would take that stuff, or you know, whichever game developer I decide to rip off. It's normally Nintendo, isn't it? A couple of questions I had actually. This one is, this cover is awesome, my kids loved it, they asked if I could download the album. And there's another question, are you ever planning on making your music downloadable? I'd love to go to university hearing your music. So yeah, getting my music up on Spotify and iTunes is absolutely the plan. And it's not technically difficult, it's just kind of expensive. So the things I release are covers. I have to get the license for them if I want to put them on Spotify and iTunes, because there's potential for making money and it's commercially available music. So That's not technically difficult because there are services out there that can get you the licenses and that's no problem, but they charge money for it. And I figured it out that if I want to have an album of 20 tracks up on Spotify, it's going to cost me about 300 quid plus the odd fee here and there for sort of getting it set up in the first place. So it's not that I'm being lazy, or it's not that I don't want to. I absolutely do want to, because it would be such a great feeling to be on Spotify. I use Spotify all the time. It's just money. So it will happen at some point when I can sort of spare a bit of cash. I will start releasing a couple of albums. However, in the meantime, what I have done is I have created this new SoundCloud page where I'm going to put all the metal covers and non-metal covers that I've released. I'm going to stick them all up on there. Every time I release a new video, I will add the track on the SoundCloud page. The link for that will be in the description, because I haven't. I've made it, but I haven't even set it up yet. But from after filming this and before putting the video out, I will have it all good to go, so it will be there. So yes, hopefully for the meantime, SoundCloud will be the solution. But yeah, Spotify, iTunes, it will happen. Just probably not anytime soon, unfortunately. Someone said, "Hey, guitar smooth my groove," and yeah, you've busted me. That's basically been my If I wanted to sum myself up in 3 words, it would be guitar smooth and groove, because I'm a huge fan of smooth and groove, and the way I release my stuff is basically a kind of, I don't want to say copy, because it's musically it's very different, but in terms of format, you know, it's the same cameras around the gameplay the whole time, and he used to just pump out a cover a week, and I know he doesn't now, and he's released videos talking about that and that sort of stuff, and that's all cool and everything. But yeah, the way he distributed his music was a big inspiration for me. So thank you for the smooth and groove likening, because I absolutely take that as a compliment. Where do you get a lot of influence with your music? I noticed some Dream Theater in one of your covers. You noticed correctly. I absolutely ripped off at least one Dream Theater riff in one of them. I think it was a Pokemon track. Yeah, Dream Theater are a huge inspiration. Just lots of metal bands in general, really. So I've been into heavy metal for years and years, since I was like mid to early teens. Metallica, huge influence. Megadeth are a massive influence. And then yeah, as I got a bit older, I got into the proggier side of it, which is when Dream Theater, they instantly became pretty much my favourite band. I'm sure it's no surprise for anyone who knows Dream Theater's music and who listens to my stuff. John Petrucci as a guitarist, he's just, I don't know, everyone has their favourite, and he is my number one. He's an absolute beast. Everything about his playing and his tone, and his songwriting and his riffs, I would love to play exactly like that. So I do my best, which is not anywhere near as good, but you know, I do try. How long does it usually take to make a video for a cover? The video itself is a piece of cake. So filming the video really takes as long as it takes to film each one, because it's 5 takes. So, you know, for a 3-minute video, it's about 15-20 minutes with a little bit of faffing about. There's always a bit of fannying about. And then it's a case of editing it together. Again, there's lots of templates and presets and stuff, because it's always the same. So actually putting the video together and editing it and exporting it is usually only about an hour. The tricky bit comes actually sitting down with a guitar in a blank Reaper session and going, right, I want to take, you know, this Legend of Zelda track or this Mario track and turn it into metal. Where do I start? And sometimes it just, like, you know, comes out so quickly and so naturally. Sometimes I really struggle. A couple of times, and especially recently actually, I've started something thinking this is going to work and it just doesn't. I've just given up. I'll throw out a little spoiler. Kirby's Gourmet Race, I had a few requests for it. I tried. I can't get it to sound as good as I want because I can't play fast enough. I feel like an old man not being able to play thrash metal fast riffs anymore, but if I'm going to do that track, it needs to be a beastie thrash track, and I just lost steam with it. I'll come back to it and I'll see if I can get my strumming technique a little quicker, but for now, I'm sorry, that one's on the shelf. So that's where the time-consuming part of it comes from, is actually writing and recording the music. But lots of presets, lots of templates, that's what helps me sort of shave off as much time as I possibly can. As you can tell, I'm losing natural sunlight. I had a little bit of sun. It's gone. Would you prefer more or less requests? I would prefer as many requests as possible. I have had loads of requests from people, and I'm not going to answer every single request like right now going, yes, I'm going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that, because until I sit down and have a go, I really don't know whether they're going to turn into like a proper thing. But I have read every single request, and I appreciate every single request, and I will certainly at least listen to them and decide whether it's something I want to do or whether it's going to work or whether I'm going to give it a proper go or not. The more requests, the better. I love it. I love getting people telling me what to do. That doesn't sound right. You know what I mean. Do you do commissions? Yeah, I do. I've composed music for video games before and a couple of other kind of arty type things, and yes, I do. So if you want me to write you some music, I compose. If you want me to do a cover of something, I don't know. Yes, is the short answer to that. Let me know. Message me and we can talk business. That was weird. I'm sorry. What do you think? Is there a big change in how games are made? So I think the vibe of your question is it used to just be about play the game and have fun. Now it's about leveling up and points and ranks and loot boxes and stuff like that. And do I think there's a difference in how games are made? Absolutely, yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think once people realised how much money there was in video games, the next question was how can we make money out of people who've already paid for them? And I think you only have to look at the Star Wars Battlefront fiasco from last year and the EA and some of the other big publishers' general policy on making money to see that that's absolutely how the way things are going. However, I do think that does also, you know, while a lot of the big companies are focusing on making money, there's an explosion of indie games who are out there saying this is all about, you know, we're all about having fun gameplay. And I think, yeah, I think I've a lot to say about game design, and you never know, you may see a video or two of me ranting and talking about it at some point. But yeah, I hope that kind of answers your question. I think that's pretty much covers most of the questions I got, other than the dozens and dozens of requests. So yeah, thank you so much for asking all the questions. Thank you for subscribing. I'm going to chuck in a little cheeky sneak peek spoiler. The next track is going to be Gangplank Galleon from Donkey Kong Country. A few people have requested it, and as King K. Rool was added to Smash Bros. Or announced for Smash Bros. Recently, I thought it was a pretty good time to do that, and I've recorded it, and it sounds pretty good if I do say so myself. That's the next video to come out, but there's another new Zelda track coming out soon as well. So things are moving along nicely. I will leave it at that. Thank you for subscribing, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.